that. We're doing it.
We're officially.
Like how it notifies you, like I know. I'm doing it. Hello for those popping on. Hello. This is Emily and Melissa with Goddess Elite. And today we thought we would talk about spirit work. Because it's getting towards that time of the year, right? When the veil is kind of thinning and people want to start getting a little spooky. So we're going to talk about how to do that and also how to do that safely. And then some of the stuff that we have here in the shop that we use to kind of do these things. As you guys probably know, we work pretty closely with Marianne Minkowski, who's the Ghost Whisperer. So this is just something that kind of is near and dear to us. We also have quite a few mediums here, and I think pretty much all of us have some sort of connection with the other side in that way.
Yeah. So feel free to ask questions, guys, as we're going over stuff, because it kind of helps the flow of the live, and it feels less like rambling at you.
Right. We want to have a conversation. Exactly. So, and also we would love to know that the stuff we're saying is relevant to you. So if you have a question, we'd be happy to help. So basically, like I said, just kind of how to work with spirits, how to do that safely, how to connect with past loved ones, especially, is something that I focus on a lot. So we'll kind of start there, I think. We got a new deck in. Now, I did post a flip-through video. Yeah, a flip-through video of this guy here, the Beloved Dead. So this is probably my favorite ancestral veneration deck. I was pleasantly surprised. So you can kind of see the back and see some of the art style. But to see a little bit more of an in-depth flip, you could check out our TikTok. I mean, Melissa angled this better because I don't think. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, I did a little flip through of this deck. I really like communicating with the dead. I really like working with my ancestors. So that kind of does both of them, but has that really cool vintage feel that we're kind of looking for. Now, what I love about that book is it's basically a bunch of archetypes that we exhibit, and then also, our ancestors have exhibited. So this would be a great deck if you're trying to communicate with your ancestors and just kind of ask them what you're supposed to be doing, what you're supposed to be focusing on. Like I said, this is called The Beloved Dead. It's by Carrie Paris and Tina Hard. But yeah, really, really cool deck. And I think we only have the one left. So if you want it, snag it up because
it's an 82 card deck.
Yeah. And that's a good thing to add because a lot of the time with Oracle decks, there aren't as many cards as tarot where there's a 78. So I was very surprised by how many cards you actually get in that deck, especially for the price and for how well done it is. Like the cards are thick, they're bigger, but they're kind of the size of like tarot cards, so still easy to flip through and handle. But yeah, definitely would recommend that deck for anybody wanting to connect with the dead, but especially with your ancestors. Right. So next, I'm just going to talk about, I guess, for the people that don't want to hang out with the spirits as much as I do. There are a couple of ways that you can cleanse your house and basically kind of set the tone for them to not be there. As far as like mediumship and stuff, it's really more about setting boundaries because when you have those abilities, like they do kind of tend to find you. So setting the boundaries, but if you wanted to like cleanse a space or your person, then sage is always a good way to go. So we got this big boy here that will last you a ridiculously long time. A lot of people like they get it and they're like, is this going to be enough for one cleansing? I'm like, oh yeah.
Unless you have like a ginormous mansion somewhere.
Or we did have somebody too who talked about, I'm not saying to do this, but who put it in the vents of his house. So maybe I guess if you're doing that and there's constant oxygen burning it, you'd go through it. But no, this thing lasts a really long time. And you are not supposed to do that, by the way. It's supposed to just kind of burn and slowly burn and then let off that smoke, and you really smoke your place up and cleanse it out. I don't know if I should go into detail about necessarily how to.
Well, I think
cleanse or not.
the biggest important thing to debunk, because I keep seeing it all over online, is open your doors and windows. No. Doors and windows shut for at least an hour, and the smoke needs to be everywhere. A little swoop around a doorway isn't going to cut it. The smoke is doing the work, and if it's going right outside the door or right outside the window, you've done nothing but waste your time and your money. So you need to let it get smoky, kind of like an 80s bar. If you are asthmatic, have somebody else do it. Don't have your children in if they are asthmatic. And if you have pet birds, if they don't do well with the smoke, put them on the back porch.
Same with asthmatic pets, I'll add, because it should be obvious, but
doors and windows shut for an hour and get the smoke everywhere, in every room, basement, attic. It does not matter in what direction you're walking. If you're top to bottom, left to right, it's important to get it everywhere. Where you do not get the smoke is where earthbound spirits are going to hide and wait you out.
Yep.
It doesn't matter about demons or anything. It's very rare to have that anyway. But that's a whole different energy level, and the smudge isn't going to do
the way you handle that is going to be a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
But you know, I remember you telling me that initially, because I always bought into that, because that's always what I was told. And then when you said that, I'm like, that really does make a whole lot of sense. Which I never was really, I'm not a big rule follower regardless, so I won't say that. Yeah, I wasn't super religious about like leaving the door open or they're stuck in there. But it was just interesting because it was something I heard a lot. So for you to say that, where you're like, the smoke actually needs to do the work, like that makes a whole lot of sense. The other thing too, like, I would always recommend if you're trying to like ward from the dead. So let's say, and I could be wrong in this, but this is my thought. So like Marianne has quince seeds that she'll put up over windows and doors and stuff like that to prevent spirits from getting in. If it were me, I would cleanse the crap out of my house before putting up any type of ward, keeping spirits in, because you don't want to accidentally trap any negativity inside. It's just better to cleanse the whole space, then put your protections and wards up, so you know that what you're protecting is actually what you want inside your home.
Yeah, she will, Marianne, you know, people will order the seeds without making sure, put them up, and then stuff goes even more awry. Because now you've trapped the earthbound in, they can't get out, they're causing havoc because now they're pissed.
Right.
So, you know, making sure there's nothing in the house before you put those seeds up. And they do need to come from her, because her family does ritual with those seeds. So just ordering random quince seeds online and be like, well, it doesn't work. It's because they haven't been blessed in a proper manner. How often recommending saging the whole house? Anywhere from like 7 to 10 days, depending on how active your house is. If you have earthbounds, if you're just doing it because, you know, it's like spring cleaning or, you know, whatever works for you. A lot of people can kind of feel the difference. Be like, oh, it feels kind of yucky, heavy, you know, go ahead and do it then, if you're not having to worry about spirits. Because people, we come home, we sit down and we kind of like, and we release, and that includes all of the crap you've been carrying around all day. You just released it into the living room where you're sitting on the couch, or your bedroom, or, you know, so you got to clean that up. That's just an energetic cleanse. But spirit wise, 7 to 10 days, if you have stuff going on that is earthbound related. Smudging will not affect those that have crossed over, so you don't need to worry about that. So if you are trying to communicate with grandma who was passed on, that smudge is going to do nothing but make sure pesky earthbounds are not meddling with what you're trying to do. It's not active, just love the feeling after. So, you know, how often you want to do it. How big is your house? How much space do you, you know.
And I definitely wouldn't say that you can't really cleanse too much in a way. Like, you're never going to have a negative impact because you keep cleansing. So if you wanted to do it whenever, just, feel called to do it. But I like to think of it as like a spiritual hygiene routine. So you want to cleanse your house. The second part of that, though, is cleansing yourself. So, bath with salt water, or rosemary or lavender or lemon or whatever it is that you use for cleansing, but also like making sure that when you're cleansing your home, you're putting the smoke around yourself as well, focusing on cleansing your aura, cleansing your energy. But definitely, like Melissa said, if you have an active home, it's not like, oh, I sage one time and they're gone. It's like you have to keep doing it, and it's something that you're going to have to keep up with. But definitely you can feel the difference. And for those who can't burn it, this white sage spray, now you're going to have to spray the crap out of everything. But white sage spray is great as well for people who can't be using the smoke. Personally, I prefer the white sage spray for if I'm cleansing myself or cleansing my car. I don't know. It's just a whole lot of area to cover, I guess is what I'm saying. So that might be good, though, for areas you can't reach too. But like what you said too about closets, attics, basements, like people really, and also sheds and garage, like things like that. Think about where you would go if somebody was coming after you, right? Where are you going to hide? Where is nobody going to check? Those are the kinds of places you want to look, because you're kind of maybe alleviating the issue for a second. Like they're not going to walk dead into the smoke, but the second that dissipates, they're like, sick. All right, like there's my open
Game
door.
on.
Yeah, exactly. And now I'm mad because you just tried to do that. So yeah, just getting everywhere is really important.
Yeah, the sprays are good for like offices, college dorms, and actually I'm just sitting here thinking probably should go grab it. We have a crystal tuning fork.
Oh yeah.
That is a cleansing by sound vibration, and it is wonderful for college dorms
That is
because
really
you're
cool.
not allowed to burn anything in dorms, right? Young people get stupid.
Yeah.
So especially in large groups. I was one time. So that tuning fork, you don't have to worry about accidentally dropping hot ash somewhere and catching fire, or somebody reporting you because they can smell it, and they don't like you for whatever reason. So we do have that, and I just forgot about it. I was going to mention dorms.
I think we've talked about railroad spikes before too on a couple other lives, but that's what I like to do just for like that. To me though, like it's kind of for spirits in a way, but I think of it more as like warding and protecting my space. So that's not going to be like a good substitute for the cleansing and all of that, but it just adds that extra level of like protection as far as that goes. But same with like witches' bells, you've probably heard. Same with wind chimes. Like that is kind of why sound cleansing is supposed to work. The lore behind the witches' bells, where they were supposed to scare off, same with wind chimes, scare off negative spirits and stuff like that if they heard them. Now, I can't really attest to if that fully works or not, to be honest with you, because I do sage and like regularly cleanse and make my ancestors kick people out. So like, I don't really, I couldn't really speak to the effectiveness as far as like getting an earthbound to leave using those methods, but it still would be a great method for cleansing regardless. So cleansing energy. Yeah.
So are we done with the cleansing part, or do we want to get into the tools to do the talking and the communicating?
I think we can do, let's get into the nitty gritty, right?
Yeah, the stuff.
Yes.
Why they're really here.
We all know why you're really listening. We want to bring them in. I don't want them to. I always said I'm more comfortable talking to the dead half the time than the living. So I am one that I'm cool with. They're around. You don't bother me. I don't bother you. We're okay. So if you do want to communicate, there's a lot of different ways to do that. So the divining rods is kind of where I'm going to start, because if you like ghosts, if you like the paranormal, anything like that, you've probably seen these on a lot of the different like YouTube channels, ghost hunting shows, blah, blah, blah. That being said, please don't take like Ghost Adventures as like gospel.
Don't get us sued, Emily.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Okay, I'm gonna take that back. Certain shows, be really careful about following certain advice. So, and I'm not saying anything negative about them, but just remember that it is TV. Real life things tend to be a little different in all facets, right? So, but you probably see them using stuff like this. Same, like I said, with like YouTube and stuff like that. What I like about it is they don't have as much of the technology aspect. It's actually like very scientific. So, you can use it to find missing items and artifacts, locate the energy lines, all of that. But I mainly use them, for the spirit communication. So it's kind of like a pendulum in that you would, if they cross, it's a yes. If they move far apart, it's a no. But these are made very, very nicely too. Like sometimes you just kind of have a bent piece of copper wire and they like really aren't really nice to look at, and they don't move that smoothly or look that great, but these ones are very high quality. If you like working with pendulums, you probably would really like the divining rods. Also, if you ever go to haunted locations, like bring them, especially even like, hey, show me what room has the most activity, like lead me to where you want me to go. Like it really helps with that kind of thing. But it's nice that you can get those yes or no answers as well. So yeah, definitely like the divining rods.
Now,
for
have
sure.
you used the rods?
I
in your
have.
hunts?
I
Because you go
have.
ghost hunting sometimes.
I do. I am an avid ghost hunter. Having to explain to the guy at T-Mobile why I needed a really good video camera was slightly embarrassing, but because he's like, "Why do you need this?" I said, "I'm ghost hunting."
Like none of your damn business.
Exactly.
My only
But-
ghost fans.
Yeah. Yeah, really. Oh my God. Only phantoms. But I do use them. They work really well. I actually prefer the divining rods to pendulums because it's really easy to get that yes or no. And same with dowsing, where a pendulum, yeah, it's like dowsing because it's going one way, but it's also going to go back the other way. So it's kind of like not as specific where these dowsing rods are literally like go right that way. You can't see my hands, but I'm motioning. But
She's being very moved.
yes, the Gemini rising in me just talk with my hands. Can't help it. But the divining rods are awesome. If you are going to go on a ghost hunt or something, definitely bring those. Like I said, I prefer that to a pendulum, but pendulums do work as well. But just for like, especially dowsing in particular.
So the pendulums, like if you're going to go speaking with things,
Mhm.
like using them with like the boards with
Mhm.
letters, numbers.
I did bring some of those just so you kind of can see.
So you're not like having to play
What I'm
ghost
talking
charades of what
about.
they're trying to tell you. You get a little easier
Right.
communication, what's
Yeah.
going on. Now that being said, so many people, because right underneath those boards, you have the spirit board.
I'll show you these.
So many people are scared of spirit boards, Ouija boards, angel boards, fairy
That's
boards,
one
whatever
of
you want to
them.
call them, right? Why? Because we have the 1980s horror and 1990s
gonna take
movie
it out
boards, horror movies based on these boards, so everybody gets scared. If you're comfortable with pendulums and the alphanumerical boards, it's
Mhm.
no different than a Ouija board.
Yeah.
But because there hasn't been horror movies of people being strangled by pendulums,
Yeah.
everybody's more safe, feels safer with ours. So go with whatever feels safe for you. There's nothing wrong with you. You are not evil. You are not wrong.
No.
If you like working with, hey, Joan and Sandy.
Hello.
If you like working with spirit Ouija boards. But that being said, make sure you're cleansing and protecting before
Right.
you start any communication.
That's what I was about to add. Is a lot of the time people are like, "Well, if you don't know what you're doing, you shouldn't work with a Ouija board because bad things can happen and blah blah blah." It's like, well, baby, like if you're not really doing the right protections and taking care of yourself before you're communicating with spirits, that can really happen in any aspect, regardless of what tool you're using. I could be just talking out loud in a haunted location. It really doesn't matter what you're using. It's a lot easier to demonize a specific thing and then not be so afraid, right? Yeah, the
Mhm.
specific tool. And it's funny too, because I do think it might be like more generational as well, like because it's not as stigmatized as it is now. It's almost actually becoming like more of a trend and stuff, which is I'm all for that. But as long as people again are being responsible.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's any of them, if not used properly, can lead to some issues.
Yeah.
So make sure you're taking your time. Yeah, right. Yeah, and exactly. Joan has divination meetup, and sometimes they practice the different tools. I think not too long ago they made a spirit board with pizza box top. I believe
love
it was.
that.
So yeah, you can use anything. Pendulum wise, like heck, I've been like out places last minute. It was like, oh shit, and like took my necklace off and used that as a pendulum because it'll work too.
Right.
Guys, feel free to ask questions. I see people watching, hovering around. Like, make sure you ask questions if you have any. There's plenty of room for questions. And It helps guide what you want to know, what you want to discuss, what you've always wanted to know. Maybe you don't have the people around you to ask.
Right. So one thing before, I guess, kind of on the level of just like protecting yourself if you're going to be doing spirit work. So we all have a spirit team that is looking out for us and wants the best for us. So most of us probably have an ancestor in there somewhere. It doesn't matter how far back that goes, because it doesn't mean you got like creepy great uncle Ron. I almost said one of my uncle's names, and then not that my uncle's creepy, but you know what I mean. Anyway, these could be way down the line, okay? But you probably have an ancestor looking out for you. You have spirit guides that are looking out for you. What I like to do before I get into any type of communication is kind of setting the standard of like any spirit who is either not of the light or doesn't have the best intentions, that kind of thing. I call them sort of like my gatekeeper or guardian protector. You've probably heard this before, but it's really good to just assign one of your spirit people to kind of be looking out for you in that way. The other good thing about doing that, and once you really get more comfortable with the mediumship and with spirit communication, is when that person pops up, when you're doing a reading or when you're in a haunted location, like, okay, like I need to be careful here. So they can kind of warn you and let you know, like, hey, watch out, be careful. I didn't bring them, and I probably should have, but I have shown them in a lot of other lives. There are a ton of crystals that you can also use to help protect you and protect your energy. So black tourmaline is a really good one for that. Same with like hawk's eye or blue tiger's eye. We have all of those pendants, things like that too. So definitely check that out. Like I said, didn't bring it in here. And if you want to work with your ancestors, one of the candles that I really like is this Dorothy Morrison candle. So it says Waking the Dead, but really it's not talking about all the dead. It's really mainly talking about your people and your ancestors. But this is one of the candles I really, really like. So I'm just going to read this last part because I really like what it says. So it says, "You who cleared the path I now tread, you whom I honor as my holy, you whom I honor as my holy dead." So you're talking about your ancestors, and you would like that and kind of put that on an ancestral altar. What's nice about communicating with your ancestors is there's not as much as a fear-based thing there. Also, if you're having dreams about your ancestors, they're actually visiting. Just keep that in mind. So.
Yes, and it's completely safe to speak with ancestors in dreams.
You like the candle? I'll kind of show it to you again. And there is an oil that I use as well that you can anoint the candle with. So they go really, really good together. Here's the incantation on the back. We do have that available on the website as well and in store. So you can always get that.
And is that a book on pendulum? So it is a book, and there is a pendulum included.
Yeah, that is a nice little kit for. Now you can't see it. I'll grab it. But it is a nice little kit for like a beginner.
Way to go, Emily. No.
I know.
You know what? If it's not on the site right now, it will be within a few minutes of the live ending. I can get it up there here in a few minutes if it's not. And let you know, Lourdes. But we also have other pendulum books.
Oh, is that my friend Lourdes? Hi. Hello.
I believe so. I believe so.
couple more, yeah. She's just grabbing a few more books on pendulums so we can show you all.
I'm doing all of my yawning off.
Oh,
So this one here is a little bit of how to with pendulums, but what's fun and helpful is they have different charts for different types of questions, like assistance in trying to find a profession, different types of energy readings, what type of education, political work, marriage work, relationship. So they give you a lot more like tools in using your pendulum. So even some of the health things. So it's a fun book, helpful, $14.95, the Practical Pendulum book. And this one here, the Little Bit of Pendulums book, it's a little hardback. It's $9.95. They've got some spaces in the back to make your own if you want.
Cool.
Information, different charts. Through here, working with your spirit guides with it.
yeah, those little bit
So-
of books are actually pretty informative and really cute and aesthetically appealing for the price. I really like those and would definitely
Just word
recommend
us,
them. Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
I was like, that's my friend.
It's like because her name on YouTube is different than the name on thing, so I'm like, I'm pretty sure.
Okay,
Pretty
I was
sure.
like, I know her. So, but yeah, also these two though. So it's nice that comes with the pendulum, kind of like a little guidebook. That would be a really good gift idea as well. So, for somebody who might want to pick
Yeah.
that stuff up.
Yeah, I'll set the practical pendulum book, this one here, aside for you. And again, like I'll make sure it's on the website when the live ends for you.
And if you don't have a pendulum, let us know because we've got a million. I don't know if they're on the website or not, but I can definitely send you some pictures of some ones that we have if you have a specific crystal you're looking for, or anything like that. Just throwing that out there. Now we talked a lot about Mary Ann because again, like we work really, really closely with her. So I just kind of want to show some of the books that we have. I think it's so cool that she's local, but was that giant, like very famous show, Ghost Whisperer, was based off of her. So super, super cool. And so that's somebody that I'm going to trust what they have to say, right? Tried and true. So these are a couple of the books that she wrote. So we've got this Book of Illumination. Also, she does do meet and greets. So you could purchase a book and get a book signed if you are local and wanted to come to the store. She's also going to be at our Wine and Spirits event in Elyria. That got moved to the VFW in Elyria. But yeah, ton of mediums and stuff there too. So if you really like this stuff, definitely come see us if you're local, or even if you're a couple hours away. I think it's worth the drive. And then we have a ton of creepy haunted stuff in Ohio that you could check out on the way home. So just come see us. It'll be so fun. Okay. It's Alive So Dead, Investigating the Paranormal. So this is the Memoirs of Mary Ann Minkowski. So I think this one just kind of describes like the her story and how that all happened. The Ice Cradle. So again, that's just another one that's describing some of the stuff Mary Ann has done here. Then we've got a couple books that like more again about the spirit work and stuff. So this one's cool because it's another Ohio person here, Devin Hunter, right? Okay, I was like, I think so.
Yeah. He's originally from Ohio.
Yeah, so that's another like spirit book. Make sure I'm not missing any questions.
I'll show you a few here
Okay.
that I picked out pendulum wise, and depending on how big or, you know, because we did get some newer ones in.
Yeah, they're really cute. Really, really cute. So definitely.
And
can
Michelle
show some of
Ballinger
those.
is actually local too.
You know, I was wondering about that. And both of these are queer authors too, which is super cool because supporting Ohio and then supporting some of them are like, yeah, I don't know if y'all can see it. So if you can't, just tell me. I'll pop it back up here. That one's cool because it specifically talks about ghost hunting. All of the ghost hunting shows and stuff that I really enjoy are the ones that pair the paranormal stuff, like the equipment and everything, and then like you've got to have a psychic medium there. I'm just not interested. So like I kind of like that is the Ghost Hunter's Guide because Michelle Ballinger is also a witchy person too, so it's kind of pairing the two together, which is really cool. So
Yeah, if you're not familiar with Michelle, Michelle was on Paranormal States. There was a newer one, and my mind just went blank on it. But a fun fact, if you're ever in Ohio in the Oberlin area, Michelle has a Airbnb in Oberlin that is
What?
haunted that you can go stay at.
This is the first I'm hearing of it, and I live 15
Because I'm like,
minutes away.
geez, if you wanted to buy a haunted house, I had a house.
You could have done that and rent it out. I'll make it haunted and I'll get a house, make it haunted, and rent it
So
out.
take
for
Marianne's
people.
seeds down. and
Yeah,
I'll help
exactly.
like this.
Just kidding.
so-
I'm not doing that.
So I've got the ice cradle set aside for you, Lourdes, and the pendulum book as well. Now, my question to you is, I will see Marianne on the 16th at the VFW at our event. Do you want me to hold your order till she signs it for you? Or do you want me to go ahead and like get it shipped out? Now, so amethyst is going to be a good stone pendulum wise for communication because third eye psychic. So we have a nice like chevron with like a little amethyst ball. This is 15. We have different type of shape. This is going to be lepidolite, a little bit heavier. Some people like heavier swinging pendulums, just matter of preference. But then we have a slightly, let me get it flipped around, like holder up at the top. So if you like a bigger holder, we have this one here. And then this is one of the newer locally made, handmade. We have a few that look kind of like this shape. And then this one has like a little Buddha up on the top. So
I grabbed these ones because this popped into my head. So I was wondering if maybe it was because she would like them. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
hey, Brooke.
hi, Brooke.
Yep, I will
Just gonna
definitely
show
get
you
it
a couple
signed
more.
for you.
So this is a lapis one. It's got the Fatima hand on it somewhere. So that's really great because it's very protective. Also, lapis is awesome for intuition. So perfect with a pendulum.
Mhm.
And this one's hematite, so very, very grounding and really pretty to look at too. So I just brought him out just in case you liked that color scheme better, I guess. It might have popped in my head for a reason.
Sure. Here's the first one again. So nice purple amethyst chevron with the little amethyst ball on it.
The coloring on that one's gorgeous, actually. How it's such a deep purple.
Yeah. So that was the first one that we showed originally, pendulum wise. But we can also, like, if anybody's interested, like, send us an email, message, whisper, whatever platform, whatever's easiest for you, and we can do like a one-on-one, like Zoom or
personal
FaceTime,
shopping. Mhm.
and like pick out one-on-one. You like that one? Okay, I'll set that one aside, and I'll get the book signed by Marianne, which will be on the 16th is when I see her.
And you all should see her too. Come to our event.
Which we do have a podcast with Marianne. It's called When Ghosts Speak on all the platforms. So each episode is an adventure that she has had to go do, or I shouldn't say had to, but that she's experienced clearing out people's houses.
Oh, okay, very
So
cool.
if you like true stories, When Ghosts Speak on all of the platforms. And Tuesday evenings on Twitch is when we record those live. So you can join us on Twitch Tuesday evenings and see it before I have to go edit out all of the goofing off. You know what, Lou? Let me. I will probably get a hold of you right after the event. That way, it'll all be done in one transaction, and we'll get the shipping and everything done. So don't worry about like paying for everything until it's all said and done. And then we'll get it shipped out that next day.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brooke. Brooke's on it. you know, she's like,
Oh,
here
wow.
is that.
Thank you.
Here's that link. Thank you, Brooke. Yeah, guys, if you have any other questions about like other ways of using like the pendulums or spirit boards, or want us to go over something again because maybe we went a little too fast, now is your time to ask.
So
I'm gonna go find some more coffee.
yeah, I know, right? Really quick, I'm going to talk about this book. The reason I'm talking about it is because, first of all, love the vintage feel of it. I think that is so, so cool. The idea of like the Victorian era seances and all of that is something I'm super interested in because I just think it's funny how humans have that connection to the afterlife in that way, but it was almost framed as like a party trick, which granted, some of them were party tricks. Okay, that is not lost on me. But what I'm saying is people do have this like innate connection to the dead, and they also have like an innate fear too. Especially think about how as children, most people see spirits or speak with spirits, and then as we get older, we kind of shut that ability off. So when I say I do believe that everybody has the ability to communicate with the dead and to practice mediumship, I do believe that. Now, do I think that some people maybe are born a little bit more open or more adept to that than others? Yes, I think some people might have to work a little bit harder or practice a little more, but nothing's outside of the realm of possibility. So, keep developing. We do have a development circle here too that Jim Flynn does. So he is a really, really great medium, and it really helps with your development. So if you're local, come check it out. But as far as this book goes, like I said, just really unique. The font is kind of cool because it, like, again, sort of the vintage feel. I'm trying to get it so everybody can see it. And then it also goes into the types of mental mediumship, psychometry, clairsentience, clairgustance, clairaudience. So it seems like whenever you hear about mediumship, often people talk about the clairvoyance, which is seeing and getting visions and seeing spirit, but that's actually one of the least common clairs for people to have. Most of the time, it's going to be, at least the way mediumship is for me when I'm doing readings, it's like someone sits down and I hear mom, dad, like something just pops in really quick, comes out my mouth. Half the time I'm speaking and I don't even really know what I'm about to say next, and it comes out. So don't discount a lot of things just because you're not physically seeing spirit. It doesn't mean that you're not communicating. So be open.
Yeah, but right, Brooke. It's just like makes sense. Some folks are better at running, riding a bike, singing. Yeah.
Yes. And the other thing I say to people too, like if you're a visual learner, probably the clairvoyance or visual cues are what's going to help you communicate. But if you are a more auditory or verbal learner, then it's going to be more so like clairaudience or claircognizance. So the way you process information in the material plane is probably going to correlate to how you process it in the metaphysical / spiritual one. So keep that in mind too.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you have aphantasia, like don't try and see spirits. Like it's not good. It's probably not going to work for you, and that's okay. But I bet you can hear them really, really well. So,
yeah, I think there's so many people and authors and just spiritual teachers as well. Like they forget that not everybody has that movie projector in their mind. So they're like, visualize this, or we're going to do a meditation, and it's all visual placement.
Right.
And I'm like, you may have lost like a quarter of your room.
Yeah, and that's why whenever I'm doing like guided meditations in classes, or sometimes like if I'm working a client through it or something, I'll say like, imagine it in whatever way works for you. You're in the woods. If you can't visualize yourself in the woods, hear it. Feel leaves crunching under, like, you know what I mean? Imagine those sensations. It might make it a little bit easier for you. And that was just an example, but.
Yeah. Just leaning over, checking all the screens.
Oh, gotcha.
Are we missing anything?
Missed you this week with your cat ears.
Yeah.
Did you have cat ears on?
No. Brooks.
Oh,
headsets
okay.
have cat ears.
I said that does not sound like Melissa
It
at
is
all.
not. It is not me at all.
Like, I no way did that happen. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, but feel free to ask away if you have any questions. Be happy to answer to the best of my ability. I'm still developing as far as the mediumship goes. That's why I read here, but I don't call myself a medium, even though people's dead people pop in all the time because I'm still developing too. But I would be happy to, answer any questions to the best of my ability as well. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, otherwise, I have cat ears and lots of Disney ears. Yes, Brooke does.
You should see the ones Forrest made, these furry pride kitty ears. And I'm like showing it like you can see me. I'm making cat ears with my hands, but you would love them. That's my point.
We need to hold the camera just on Emily.
Yeah, I know, just for my expressions.
But even after we're done, if a question pops up, send an email, message, whisper, whatever platform, whatever's easiest for you. GoddessSeaLeaf.com, you'll find the email if you're like, I have a question.
Yeah, also too, if you have any like subjects, like we're always looking for input as far as the lives go, because we like to kind of schedule them out a little bit so you know what to expect. So if there's a certain subject that we haven't touched on yet and that you're really interested in, please, please, please let us know so that we can make a live about that and really be like adhering to what our audience wants, right? We want to make sure that you're interested in what we're saying. So if you have something that you want to add, just let us know.
Yeah. Otherwise, I think we'll wrap it up. Yeah.
Well, thank you all, and best of luck in your communications with the dead, right?
And talking to all of the invisible friends that
Yes.
may or may not be hanging around. Just don't be like me and blame them for like
You dropped your
Everything.
pen and the pen went away.
Give it back.
All right.
everyone,
Thanks,
thank you.
guys.